Nerazzurri fans from all over the world, welcome to the Interglobe. Since the Champions League final is far away and for once we have 7 days pause between games in Serie A, which basically has never happened in this year, I want to just talk a little bit about the situation in Serie A, about Antonio Conte, and how I really believe that he's, yes, definitely a marketing genius, someone who could definitely lead a masterclass course, but at the same time, I think, at least for me, he's sort of an insignificant man. Let's see why. Basically, he's a demonstration that in life, the qualities of a human being are not what trumps, but instead the marketing side of things, it's what matters. This is something that is obvious, of course, in the world of product marketing, but not so much in the world of people marketing, self-marketing. And I also want to say as a premise that I am a victim of this as well, because when Antonio Conte was at Inter, I adored him, literally. But now that he's gone, when I look at his career, where he's been, the bridges he burned with the different teams he's been into, I really understand that his main quality is the ability to cover himself against possible risks and discharge all the pressure on the team, on the club management, and everywhere basically apart from on his own shoulders. Let's see what I have in mind and what I mean by this. Again, life is all about positioning. It's not about your qualities. It's about how you sell yourself. And as Harari said in one of his books, the humans are different from animals because they believe in stories. So the ability to tell a story is everything in life. And that's why the way you position yourself is more important than the way you are. A simple example in the world of advertising, Coke, which is water and sugar, is perceived as an incredible, amazing, unmissable product, while there's nothing different in Coke compared to Pepsi or any other carbonated drink, as a matter of fact. And this is an example of how marketing can help in selling stuff. And Conte has been a great branding expert of his own brand. But if we look back, I really condemn this way of behaving. I much rather be a person like Simone Inzaghi, who's very simple, humble, and who basically lives in harmony with all the elements of the working place where he's working, than being a person who creates toxic energy, who attacks others, and who only has as a final goal to protect himself, because I don't think it's a fair way of doing things. We all remember going back in time when Conte was at Juventus and he left by saying that if you want to participate or to go to a 100 euros restaurant, you can't go there with only 10 euros, blaming Juventus for not being active on the transfer market. We also all remember the performance of Conte at Chelsea. Started well, as everywhere he goes, because he's a very good professional. We have to give this to him. But then it ended up in a courtroom with Chelsea's management as well. Coming to Inter, I still remember, apart from the bitter ending of him leaving the squad in the middle of the summer, but I still remember that interview after Borussia Dortmund Inter in the groups phase in Champions League, where we were winning 2-0 in the first half and we ended up losing 3-2. And all he had to say is, come on, how do you expect me to do great stuff with players like Barella, who comes from Cagliari, and Sensi, who comes from Sassuolo. So he discharged once again all the blame on the players, and this is not elegant, definitely not elegant. In Naples, without going too far away in time, he says things like, nobody thought we could find ourselves in a similar position, meaning in the first place in the table. This is a statement that's completely absurd. You are coaching a team that less than 700 days ago won a championship in Serie A. You have 7 of those players, actually 9 of those players still in the squad. You are coming from a transfer market window in which De Laurentiis spent for you 150 millions. 150 millions. You bought Buongiorno, McTominay, Lukaku, Neres, Gilmour, Marin, without mentioning other secondary players like Okafor, Asa, Spinazzola, Scuffet, Billings, Garbi, Spavone, and Turi. I mean, this is incredible. You know, you inherit 9 players, including Kvara, okay, who was sold half of the season, but for you, Kvara was more of a problem than an opportunity because of the way you like to play, which is basically counter-attacking. So, you know, you had 9 players from Napoli that won. You had 150 million on the transfer market versus basically 50 maybe that Inter spent. And you managed to say nobody thought that we would be here at this point. I mean, very clever, definitely. Something to learn from, because in the end, if you look at the bank account of Antonio Conte, there's not much you can say, but I don't find him very intelligent in this respect, because you end up creating relationships that are not meant to last. Apart from the one with Lukaku, and we all know what kind of man Lukaku is, but in general, you just poison the harmony that should reign in a club. And you are a champion of maniavantismo, as we say in Italian, which is a champion of covering yourself against problems. And in an altruistic conception, this doesn't make any sense. Is it okay to be altruistic in soccer? I think in general, as human beings, altruism is a fantastic quality. So being always a person that protects himself first is something that I don't find very interesting. Under the human standpoint, of course, economically it pays. So this is my analysis for today. I just wanted to spend a few words about this man who is a great professional, who is a great asset, at least in Italy, because as we all know, in Europe he never succeeded. But he has this dark side that I'm very happy is not present at Inter anymore. I mean, I can't help but comparing him with Simone Inzaghi. And I'm not talking about the way the team plays, because it's like light years away in terms of beauty. As we all know, Simone Inzaghi is the best coach of Inter in history in terms of what he brought to the game and how the team is playing and how he innovated the 3-5-2 tactics. But as a human being, Simone Inzaghi for me is so much more valuable than Conte, and I just wanted to say this. So the end thought is that a wonderful finale awaits us in Serie A, and we don't know who will triumph this year, and this is the beauty of it, but we definitely know that Antonio Conte will get out of the duel as a winner. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please punch the like button, leave a comment. That would be very important for me. And as always, Forza Magica Inter. Ciao.